Hello, my name is Kiriath, and oh my god, there's actually a little bit of news. A little morsel of news. A tiny bit of news for Warhammer 40k. And I have received a tip via Twitter. A rumoury thing. And the person has asked not to be named, so I'm not going to name them, because that would be... why would you? That would be just a ridiculously unfair thing to do. And obviously, when it comes to this tip, this little bit of information, I cannot endorse the veracity of these claims. I don't know if veracity is the right word. It might be a word I've made up. I'm not entirely sure. But I can't tell you how accurate this is. I'm only passing on what I've been told, and basically saying, even if this is not true, I really wish it would be, because it's kind of what I'd like to see from the upcoming Orc Codex, which, as we know, is on the way. So the news bit, the actual news bit, which is a little bit of news, but it's nothing that's like particularly blowing me away, is that there are going to be new Forge World Knights. We're going to see more stuff from Forge World in the way of Imperial Knights. This is kind of feeding into my theory that we're going to see a heavy reduction in what is happening for Horus Heresy stuff, and that Forge World are going to go back to focusing on big models, big characters, that we're going to see more in the way of like character series and kind of set piece models, and that the vast majority of stuff that is like plastic will most likely be shifting into... well, shifting over to Games Workshop, like the Mark II armour and the Mark IV armour and all that, Mark III, Mark IV, whichever marks they are that I can't remember off the top of my head, those will be, you know, focused on in terms of plastic, not in terms of resin. I mean, that's what I've been guessing. I've not really made a video about it yet, thinking about it. I meant to do that and then I forgot. But that's kind of what I'm seeing as a vague trend from Forge World. You know, all the Legion-specific stuff is going. The production of the actual... bodies, the actual armour is going to be probably stopping or winding down at the very least, because there are plastic alternatives available from Games Workshop, and I'd imagine they're just more popular for the vast majority of people, not least because they're a lot cheaper. But new Forge World Knights, something to be kind of excited about. I'll be honest, I haven't bought a Forge World Knight yet. I keep wanting to, but then I end up buying stuff for other projects, like the budget that I had to go towards the Atropos Knight. That, unfortunately, half that budget disappeared into Creature Caster, so having to, you know, build that back up again. More choice is always good. I'm not going to complain about more Knights, because Knights are pretty fucking awesome, and my Guard/Custodes project has taken yet another massive hit, because I have Armigers on the way, along with a bunch of Chaos bits. I wonder why that could be. Oh dear, what have I done? But yeah, more Forge World Knights. I'm interested to see what they do, I'm interested to see what variations we see. And typically, the Forge World Knights look quality, so it might be a bit easier to build up the resolve required to dump like 200 quid into one of the fucking things. So yeah, happy, excited about that. Now, the rumoury tippy bit. This is about the upcoming Orc Codex, and as I say, someone has got in touch with me very kindly and said that they have a friend, or they've spoken to someone who is under NDA and has seen it, and as such, I don't have anyone's name, and I wouldn't give anyone's name anyway, because that'd be fucking stupid. And what they claim to have seen is, obviously, the Codex, dice, so we'll have Orc dice, a plastic Ghazghkull. No word on what the size of the plastic Ghazghkull is, whether it's like a massive Ghazghkull, whether it's a prime Orc Ghazghkull, or whether it's just normal Ghazghkull. Orc bits upgrade sprue, so like the Gene Stealer / Space Marine chapter sprues, so like different heads and other stuff to add to Orc Boys kits, which to me, if that is true, that would be really good, because that would give more variation. It might breathe a little bit of life into that old kit, although it does suggest that the old kit is not going away. A Warboss Clan Pack release, which honestly does make sense, because as they point out, there's no generic Warboss. Like, you can get a big mech, but there's no just generic Warboss for the Orcs, which is it's just dumb. Like, I don't understand that choice. Like, what? How is there no just generic HQ model for a faction? How does that make any sense whatsoever? I mean, I know the Orcs, it's big on kit bashing, big on making them look your own, but even then, just no generic HQ. I mean, what? AdMech have got a relatively small release force. They've got a dedicated HQ. Same thing for like Deathwatch. Even Deathwatch have got a dedicated HQ. All of them have got fucking dedicated HQs. Except for Custody, I suppose, technically. Although, to be honest, you make your HQ out of the normal box, and then squad sizes mean that you can mess about with that as much as you like. So, yeah, I hadn't even... I think I've probably mentioned it before, but until I read it again, I was like, oh yeah. Why? Why? Why would you do that? Why? And also, that there are Wartrack, buggies, and Deathcopters being worked on, but they will not be in the initial release. That, I'm in two minds of that particular thing, because the rest of it honestly seems sensible to me. The codex, obviously, need the codex. Dice, it's kind of a bit weird as to when dice come out and when they don't. It's not like a standard thing for every release, but doing a proper revamp of the range would, you know, most likely, I think, result in something like that. It would be significant enough for that. An upgrade sprue, again, I can kind of see that, and depending on what units are in the codex, something like that could make it a lot easier to make different units. You might be scaling down on the number of boxes and instead just producing, you know, a couple of boxes, but lots of different sprues to upgrade those boxes into whatever you want. I can see that happening. A new war boss makes sense because, as we say, there isn't one, so that would absolutely make sense. And Plastic Ghazghkull, that model is so old, it's so ancient, it really needs an update. And if ever the time to do it, I mean, this is the time to do it, really. There's no real excuse to not do it. We've had the return of... I mean, we've had the return of bloody Gilliman before we had a new model for Ghazghkull. So, you know, that makes sense to me. Wartrack's, buggies, and Deathcopters being reworked, I would love that to be true. I genuinely would, because those models are old as fuck. It is ludicrous that they're still being sold. I do not understand what the reasoning is there. I don't even know who's buying them. I cannot remember the last time I've seen someone go, oh yeah, I bought some Deathcopters the other day. They're ancient. They're ancient and they look bad. That's just what it boils down to. So, I would like that to be true. Obviously, we won't know if they're not going to be out in the initial release, but they do need to be updated. They really badly need to be updated. We've talked about this a couple of times before. There are certain models on Games Workshop site that I honestly think should just not be available, because they're just not up to scratch. You know, they're just not good enough anymore. Those models absolutely fit that. I mean, we're talking Gorka Morka shit. It is ancient. The actual orcs in those models don't match the orcs that you actually get for the army. It's like, yeah, I'd love that to be true. We'll have to wait for quite a while to find out if it is. It would be nice if it was. But then again, that stuff has been around for so long. It's kind of a mix of, yeah, they need to, and they've never done it before, why would they bother now? You know, it's kind of a mix of those two conflicting things, where it's like, I could see why they would, but also, it's been so long I could easily see why they wouldn't. Finally, and the thing that I really like the sound of most, but again, this falls under the heading, the category of me saying to myself, I'd love that to be true. I would absolutely love that to be true. It'd be so good if it was. I'm not 100% convinced. It feels a little... not wish listy, and I'm not trying to like talk down the person who shared this stuff with me. Like, I'm not trying to make them out to be like some sort of idiot or anything. But looted wagons may be back in the codex proper, and they would be described to be like a base vehicle chassis and a huge list of upgrades. That would be fucking perfect. I would love that. It would make me incredibly... it would make it incredibly hard not to just start kit bashing the shit out of vehicles immediately, because that's what I got into orcs for back in the day. Now, that's what I loved about them. I loved making a... like, the fact that there was no battle wagon, you just made your own. My battle wagon was a Land Raider and a Chimera that was like fused together. It looked ridiculous. It was so good. I would love that to be true. I would love it to be a case of, here's the vehicle to pick like 4 upgrades. You can get more armour, you can get these 3 guns, or maybe you get 1 gun and it moves quicker or has transport capacity or something like that. Like a list of things that you can put on it. Maybe make it so it's modular, so you can put this on, which allows you to put this on, but it means you can't take this. On the other hand, or even if it was just a list of upgrades and you could just keep stacking points onto the thing like some sort of monstrosity. That would be class as well. I don't know which I'd prefer, to be honest. Both would be awesome. But that specific thing is moving away from the trend that we are seeing from Games Workshop. Like, the trend at the moment is not more complexity, it is less complexity in terms of building your leader, in terms of building your squads. I mean, if you look at things like just Primaris as a whole, it's just like gone, you know. Here's your list of options. You have a sword or a power fist, knock yourself out. It's like, I feel like overall war gear choice is slowly being limited down or removed entirely in some cases. That would be great. That would be 100% orc. It would be exactly what I'd like to see from the orcs. It would also, I think, buck the current trend of trying to keep things simple, because I really feel like Games Workshop are moving more and more towards keeping it simple, with the removal of stuff they don't do models for, with all of that crap. Yeah, I love the idea of it. I don't know if that would fly. I don't know if that's something that would actually be put out. It'd be great if it was, because that is just pure 100% orc. That is what made me get into orcs in the first place. That would be absolutely spot on for me. I would love it. Just doesn't fit the current trend, to my mind. Just doesn't fit it. So that one is I really hope it's true, but I really don't think it is. Most of it, though, just seems pretty reasonable. It seems like stuff we could reasonably expect. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I would really hope that we see quite a bit from this, honestly. I really want to see a really good release for the orcs. I feel like Xenos as a whole they've been horrendously underserved with 8th. Like, they've been so horrendously underserved. I mean, we've had things like the Custodians come and arrive, and, you know, their faction has been expanded massively from what it was. I know it's still not a huge amount of choice, but compared to what they could field before, it's a huge amount of choice. We've had the announcement of new systems of battle, we've got more Imperial Knights, we've had all of the Primaris stuff, so much Primaris stuff. I mean, even with the release of Death Guard, Chaos got a significant boost in terms of just choice, really. Xenos has not got nearly enough attention this edition. What I'd really love to see is, honestly, orcs coming back with a bang, having a really good range refresh, having a whole load of new shit, properly getting the release that they deserve, and that kicking off kind of the next round of improvements to Xenos ranges as a whole. I'd love this to be like the beginning of something big, the beginning of something where the Xenos factions actually start getting their new stuff. How likely that is, I don't know, but that would be the ideal scenario for me. And even if it is just, here's Codex, here's some dice, here's Gazgul, and here's some upgrade bits, that would be better than most of the other Xenos factions have gotten. It would be a start, you know? It would be a start. So, yeah, those are the little bits of information / tips / rumours / stuff to talk about, what I've been sent. I think that's about it, really. What do you reckon? Do you think it holds any water? Some of it, I think, is obvious enough that it is most likely true. Some of it is a little bit further out there, like especially the looted wagons. I'd be really interested to hear whether you think that is even remotely likely. Just let me know in the comments, because I've told you what I think about it, but I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Let me know in the comments down below. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to click any of the things. There's video, subscribe, Patreon, all of that shit. Click it if you like. Don't click if you don't want to. And I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.